Let us begin. In the soft, golden twilight of ancient Babylon, the air is warm, filled with the scent of clay and tamarisk trees. In the distance, the grand ziggurat stands like a silent guardian. Watching over the city, streets wind gently between mud brick homes, and a soft breeze carries the lullaby of the Euphrates. Tonight, you are not a modern traveler. You are someone else, a humble scribe, or perhaps a baker's apprentice, someone simple, yet important in your own quiet way. And this is your world, one of dust, gold, dreams. The sun rises slowly, casting long shadows across the walls of sun-baked clay. The city awakens not with noise, but with a gentle rhythm. Chickens cluck softly. A vendor opens a stall, ranging figs, dates, and salted fish with care. His hands move slowly, practiced from years of repetition. The morning market begins to stir. The smell of warm bread floats in the air. A potter wheels his cart through the alley, his clay jugs clinking faintly. People speak in hushed tones, bartering with eyes more than words. Life here does not rush. It flows, like the river that nourishes it. And you walk among them, quiet, observing, breathing it all in. You pause beneath a cluster of tall date palms. Their leaves rustle gently overhead, whispering secrets to the morning wind. A child walks by, carrying a clay jar almost too big for her arms. Her laughter is soft, a melody that melts into the stillness. A man sits cross-legged on a woven mat, grinding barley with a stone wheel. His motions are slow and circular, like time itself repeating. His face is lined not with worry, but with years of sun, dust, and wisdom. He nods to you, WORDLESSLY dot somewhere nearby. A reed flute plays a quiet tune, not a song of joy, nor of sorrow, just a simple note, drifting like a feather on air. English. Past the market, beyond the palms and the soft chatter, there lies a small clay building. Its walls are faded with age. A wooden sign above the door bears a symbol, not a name, but a coal of cuneiform, etched long ago by a careful hand. Inside, it is quiet, the kind of silence that invites thought. A few children sit cross-legged on the floor, their eyes wide. Their reed pens clutched tightly in ink-stained fingers. At the front, the old scribe waits. His voice is low, merely a whisper, as he guides the students to copy a line from a tablet. The gods see the honest man in shadow, and the liar in light. The students breathe slowly. They do not rush in this room. Even time must be patient. The scent reaches you before the doorway does, warm, rich, comforting. The bakery is nothing more than a clay hut with a domed oven and a small bench worn smooth by years of flour and kneading. Inside, the baker moves like someone in a quiet dance, his arms dusted white, his palms pressing and folding dough with care. The fire glows softly inside the oven's mouth, its breath steady, its warmth constant. He hums to himself, not a song you know, but something older, as if the melody were baked into the walls on a wooden board. Round loaves rise like small suns, their tops cracking gently as they bake. You sit for a moment, watching. The baker doesn't speak. He nods to you, offering a piece of warm flat bread, golden and steaming, torn with his bare hands. It tastes like morning, like patience, like home. You walk beyond the city walls, where the scent of smoke fades and the breeze carries only earth and sky. The fields stretch far, golden and quiet, rustling softly with every touch of the wind. Rows of barley bend gently, like worshippers bowing to the gods of harvest. A farmer stands knee-deep in the grain, his back bent but unbroken. He works without haste, pulling weeds, checking stalks, whispering words to the soil, not because it hears, but because he needs to speak. His hands are sun-worn, his eyes steady. He sees you and nods, then returns to his rhythm. Birds flutter in the distance. The sun leans westward. Shadows grow longer. There is no urgency here, only the turning of seasons. Only the breath of the earth as the sky turns from gold to lavender. You find yourself walking the steps of an ancient temple. The air is cool now, touched by dusk. The sandstone glows softly, its surface still warm from the day at the entrance. Braziers flicker to life, their flames dancing in the evening breeze. The smell of incense, sweet and smoky, curls upward like a prayer. You hear low chanting, steady as a heartbeat, coming from within. Inside, shadows stretch along the walls, cast by tall statues of the goddess Ishtar, fierce and graceful. Her eyes carved from polished stone. The priestess moves slowly between columns, carrying a bowl of oil. Her footsteps are barely a sound. You sit on the floor, cross-legged, as others do. No one speaks. No one needs to. In this quiet, something ancient stirs, not loud, not visible, but deep, as if the stones themselves remember. Night settles softly over the city like a delicate veil. You find yourself in a quiet courtyard, open to the heavens. Overhead, countless stars shimmer in a vast, infinite sky, a tapestry of light echoing the long-forgotten myths of old. A gentle breeze stirs the air, carrying faint echoes of distant music and laughter from festivities past. The cool night embraces you as you recline on a smooth stone bench. The ground beneath a comforting firmness in the stillness. Your mind drifts to dreams and memories, each star a silent witness to desires, hopes, and quiet joys. The ancient city, with its whispered secrets and enduring legends, seems to breathe in time, with your heart a soft harmony between the cosmos and the human soul. The stars still glitter outside, but within the walls of a modest clay house, another kind of light flickers, orange and low, cast by a quiet fire. You sit among a small group, cross-legged on woven mats, close enough to feel the warmth of the flames on your face. At the center is the old man. His face is a map of years, each line drawn by wind, sun, and sorrow. His eyes, though clouded with age, burn with memory. He does not begin with once upon a time. He simply speaks, and the room leans in. There was a city before this one, he murmurs, built of stone too heavy for men to carry, carved by hands the gods no longer name. It stood where the river split, and its walls could speak, if you listened in the wind. The fire crackles, no one dares to interrupt. And beneath that city, he continues, lay another, older still, buried in dust and silence. There, in the hollow dark, the first dream of kings was born. His voice drifts like smoke, curling into every ear, every breath. You don't know when the story ends. Perhaps it doesn't. Perhaps it's still being told. In brick, in sand, in sleep. The fire has died down to embers, and the old man's voice has faded into silence. Round you, people have stretched out onto the mats. Some murmur prayers, others simply breathe, slow, steady, at peace. You rise quietly and step outside. The rooftop from earlier is now quiet. The stars have shifted in the sky. Still watching, still waiting. Below, the city is asleep. The marketplace is empty, its stalls closed with linen sheets that sway gently in the breeze. The river moves silently under the moonlight, and even the dogs no longer bark, just the occasional sigh of the earth, the soft rustle of a date palm. You lie down beneath the sky, not needing a blanket, only the comfort of history all round you. You close your eyes. Babylon does not, and it lingers in stone. In wind, in sleep, and tonight. You sleep within it. You are no longer sure if you're awake. The stars have become symbols, unfamiliar, ancient, glowing softly in colors that no longer exist. The walls round you melt away, and suddenly, you're standing in a wide plain of dust. It stretches out in every direction, quiet and endless. Then, rising like a whisper, comes a sound. Bells, not loud, not close, but shimmering, as if memory had a sound. You walk dot in the dust, shapes form, a ziggurat half buried, a crown left behind. Sandals of gold tangled in the roots of a forgotten tree. These are not from Babylon alone. These are from before Babylon. From cities the wind has erased. From kings no scroll remembers. A voice speaks, not in words, but in feelings. It says, you are not just from the present. You are made of every story ever told, every name once whispered, every step ever taken on the earth. You kneel, not in fear, but in knowing you are no longer sure if you're awake. The stars have become symbols, unfamiliar, ancient, glowing softly in colors that no longer exist. The walls round you melt away, and suddenly, you're standing in a wide plain of dust. It stretches out in every direction, quiet and endless. Then, rising like a whisper, comes a sound. Bells, not loud, not close, but shimmering, as if memory had a sound. You walk dot in the dust, shapes form, a ziggurat half buried, a crown left behind. Sandals of gold tangled in the roots of a forgotten tree. These are not from Babylon alone. These are from before Babylon. From cities the wind has erased. From kings no scroll remembers. A voice speaks, not in words, but in feelings. It says, you are not just from the present. You are made of every story ever told, every name once whispered, every step ever taken on the earth. You kneel, not in fear, but in knowing you are no longer sure if you're awake. The stars have become symbols, unfamiliar, ancient, glowing softly in colors that no longer exist. The walls round you melt away, and suddenly, you're standing in a wide plain of dust. It stretches out in every direction, quiet and endless. Then, rising like a whisper, comes a sound. Bells, not loud, not close, but shimmering, as if memory had a sound. You walk dot in the dust, shapes form, a ziggurat half buried, a crown left behind. Sandals of gold tangled in the roots of a forgotten tree. These are not from Babylon alone. These are from before Babylon. From cities the wind has erased. From kings no scroll remembers. A voice speaks, not in words, but in feelings. It says, you are not just from the present. You are made of every story ever told, every name once whispered, every step ever taken on the earth. You kneel, not in fear, but in knowing you are no longer sure if you're awake. The stars have become symbols, unfamiliar, ancient, glowing softly in colors that no longer exist. The walls round you melt away, and suddenly, you're standing in a wide plain of dust. It stretches out in every direction, quiet and endless. Then, rising like a whisper, comes a sound. Bells, not loud, not close, but shimmering, as if memory had a sound. You walk dot in the dust, shapes form, a ziggurat half buried, a crown left behind. Sandals of gold tangled in the roots of a forgotten tree. These are not from Babylon alone. These are from before Babylon. From cities the wind has erased. From kings no scroll remembers. A voice speaks, not in words, but in feelings. It says, you are not just from the present. You are made of every story ever told, every name once whispered, every step ever taken on the earth. You kneel, not in fear, but in knowing you awaken, or think you do, lying on warm stone. Above you, the sky is blue, impossibly wide. The sun is not harsh, but golden. Like honey poured over ancient sand. In the distance, towering silhouettes rise, pyramids, still and silent, their angles perfect against the sky. You are alone, but not forgotten. A young boy walks by, barefoot, carrying a basket of figs. He doesn't see you. Or maybe he does, and simply smiles, as if you were part of the dream. The ground is warm beneath you. The stones hum with stories, of pharaohs wrapped in linen, of scribes dipping reeds into ink, of songs carved into temple walls. You hear a soft rhythm, the sound of oars in water, the Nile, flowing slowly, like time itself. Someone offers you water in a clay cup. You drink, and it tastes like sky dot and in the whisper of wind. The same voice from the dust speaks again. Civilizations rise and sleep, but stories, they drift across sand, across sea, until someone, like you, listens, you listen, and the dream deepens, you awaken. Also, it seems, lying on warm, sun-bathed stone. The air is dry, the sky impossibly blue, and the heat of the morning wraps around you like a linen robe. Before you rise the great pyramids, silent, timeless, watching. The sand does not shift unless the wind asks it to. Time here is slow, deliberate, ancient. A distant boat glides along the Nile, its oars dipping in rhythm. Children laugh in a village nearby, their voices carried lazily across the plain. A priest chants softly in a temple, the words lost to your ears but not your bones. You feel them, like echoes through stone. You see a procession, a scribe with scrolls tucked beneath his arm, his servant carrying lotus flowers, a noble woman shielding her eyes from the sun with a fan made of ostrich feathers. You are not one of them, but you are not separate either. In this place, you are memory. You drift between moments, not touching, not changing, only witnessing. The pyramids do not speak, but you understand. They whisper through shadow. They say, we are not tombs, we are clocks. We are the breath of stone, waiting for someone like you to remember. So you remember. And the wind sighs, and the dream continues. You are seated on a stone bench, beneath an olive tree. The sun glows soft on the forum. Pigeons flutter between ruined columns, and the scent of warm bread drifts from a nearby bakery. You do not know how you arrived. You do not need to. Voices echo across time, senators debating calmly in togas, philosophers murmuring about the soul and the stars, a child reciting poetry in Greek, half remembered, half imagined. You walk slowly past marble statues, each face frozen in a different thought. A warrior gazing beyond the horizon, a woman smiling gently at something long gone, a child reaching up, as if to touch the sky. Laid out before you, the bats, the libraries, the whispers of scholars. You step into the shadow of memory, not as a conqueror, but as a listener. In the distance, you hear a whisper from the stones. Even marble forgets, but not you. You are the keeper of what sleeps. Walk gently. Listen deeply, and we will speak. You sit, you breathe, you remember. You float now, not walking, not flying, just drifting, like a leaf over still water. Beneath you, there are towers, submerged, stairways swallowed by coral, statues cradled in seaweed. You are in Atlantis, or perhaps just the memory of it. The ocean hums gently round you, not dark, not cold. The water is warm, like a dream remembered just before waking. Golden domes glint far below. Shells cover mosaics once tread by sandals. You see no people, but you feel them. Their stories ripple through the water. A whisper reaches you, not through sound, but thought. We built with hope. We dreamed with pride. But the sea forgets nothing. You drift past sunken libraries, books of crystal, of pearl, of silver ink now unread. Ideas locked in silence. Fish glide where scholars once spoke. Light bends strangely through broken archways. There is beauty here, a quiet, heavy kind of beauty. And the voice continues. If you remember us, we are not gone. We become dream. And dream becomes song. Sleep. And we will sing. You close your eyes, and the song begins. Mist curls over the mountains, soft and silver. You stand at the edge of a rice field, the earth warm beneath your bare feet. Somewhere, a bronze drum sounds, slow, deep, steady, tongue, tongue, tongue. Each beat echoes through the valley, like the heartbeat of the land itself. You see huts with thatched roofs, children chasing chickens, and old men carving tails into bamboo. No one sees you, yet you are seen. No one hears you, yet you are known. In the center of the village stands an altar, not to gods, but to ancestors. Bowls of rice, incense, and sweet water rest quietly there. A woman in a red scarf whispers, "We do not write with ink. We write with wind, and rain, and memory." The drum continues. This is not the beginning. This is not the end. This is the breath between them. And as the sun rises, the mist lifts. You walk toward the hills, not forward, not back, but inward. It is dusk. A soft breeze passes through paper walls. The lanterns flicker. You kneel on tatami, gazing out over a quiet garden. A koi stirs in the pond. Cherry blossoms fall. Though the trees are still, there is silence. But it is not empty. It holds music, memory, and meaning. A woman walks past behind a screen. You do not see her face, only the whisper of her silk robes brushing the floor. You hear the sound of brush against paper. Someone is writing a poem. A single moment, frozen in ink. A voice murmurs, low and even, "To live beautifies to vanish gently." Like mist from the sleeve of a kimono, you rise and walk through the garden path. Moonlight gathers on polished stone. No one speaks, but everything says something. And then, from somewhere unseen, you hear a string plucked, a baiwa or koto, and your breath slows. The past is not far. It waits, quietly. Beneath the cherry trees, you are standing at the edge of a cliff. Far below, clouds drift through valleys like rivers of white breath. The air is thin. The silence is enormous. Behind you, stones carved by hands long vanished. They fit together without mortar, without gap, as if the mountains themselves whispered where each one should go. You step into a doorway shaped like a trapezoid. It leads into darkness, but not emptiness. It hums. Inside. The walls are cool and smooth. There is no light, yet you see, not with eyes, but with something older. You run your hand along the stone, and suddenly you understand. Not words, not language, but meaning, pulled into rock. A voice rises from the floor. "We did not write books. We wrote the earth. Our libraries are in the walls. You only need to listen." Outside, the wind picks up. And from high above, you hear the cry of a condor. You look up, and for a moment, you feel your feet leave the ground. The sun does not burn here. It watches. You walk among fallen columns. Each one once held a roof of stars beneath your feet. Cliffs whisper. They move when you don't look. They remember what even gods forgot. Ahead is a doorway, partly buried in sand, entirely buried in time. You enter. Inside. The air is dry, but filled with pages, papyrus scrolls, rolled and stacked, crumbling but breathing. You touch one. It does not crack. Its size. A voice, old but gentle, rises like incense. "We wrote to remember, but memory itself is fragile. So we wrapped it in story. In spell. In silence. You pass between shelves older than cities. A statue watches you. Its eyes do not follow, but its silence does. You reach a single word, carved in basalt, glowing faintly. It is not meant to be read, only felt, and suddenly you realize this is not a ruin. It is a dream that waited thousands of years for you to walk into it. You are walking through a grove of olive trees. The leaves shimmer silver under moonlight. Each one a page from an unwritten book. Ahead, columns rise from the earth like frozen music. A temple. Not grand, not towering, but waiting dot inside. Marble shines with time dot not polished, but softened. As if centuries of prayer had worn it smooth. You pass an open scroll on a pedestal dot the words shift when you try to read them dot not because they hide, but because they sing. You hear it, a lyre in the distance, and then a voice. Do not look for answers dot look for the echo, for meaning lives in the space between the questions. His statue stands beside you. Her eyes are closed, but you feel watched, not with sight, but with understanding. You sit, and for a moment, you are not yourself. You are the poet, the philosopher, the child who once asked why the stars don't fall, and in that silence, you realize truth is not always loud dot sometimes. It whispers in marble dot there is no wind dot no stone dot no time, only breath. You open your eyes, but you are not in Egypt, not in Greece, not in any map you have ever seen. You are inside, yourself. A library stretches before you, not of books, but of moments. Memories you didn't know you had. Footsteps echo, but they are your own. You walk past shelves made of dreams, doors labeled in feelings, joy, loss, curiosity, silence. A small flame glows in the center of the room, not fire, but memory, alive and warm. You sit beside it, and the flame speaks, not in sound, but in thought. You have wandered far, through kingdoms forgotten dot through ruins and riddles. But the greatest civilization is the one inside you. It flickers, then brightens dot, and in that light, you see everything. The stones of Inca, the scrolls of Egypt dot the lyres of Greece dot all woven into the story of you. You smile, not because you've reached the end, but because you remember. You are the beginning. You drift downward. No water, no fear dot just silence. Thick velvet. The world above fades dot below. Something glows dot not with light, but with memory dot you land gently on marble steps, worn smooth by time, by tides, by forgetting. Before you is a city, not Atlantis dot not Lemuria. This one never had a name. Its buildings are shaped like shells, its towers curve like coral, and its streets, they hum, not with voices, but with the echoes of old thoughts. You wander, statues line the way, not of gods, but of dreamers, eyes closed, faces turned upward, as if still waiting for the sun. A library with no walls appears. The pages are made of glass, each one holding a memory lost by the surface world. You read one. We sang to keep time alive, but the sea forgot our songs. Another. We built not to last, but to be remembered by those who feel silence. The sea does not crash here dot it listens. You sit on a step and realize this city is not truly lost. It was just waiting for someone who listens in their sleep. You rise into a sky without color, not black, not blue dot just. Deep dot stars appear, not burning, but blinking, like ancient thoughts. A floating platform forms beneath your feet dot it is shaped like a spiral. Each curve is century lost, a truth misplaced, an aim the wind forgot. You are not alone. Figures in cloaks of shadow and stardust wait. They hold no scrolls dot no tools, just eyes that have looked beyond time dot one gestures, not to you, but to the stars, and there you see it. A constellation not found on any map dot it shifts as you breathe. Its lines are not made of stars, but of moments, moments you forgot, a question you once asked in the dark, a smile you gave without knowing why, the feeling of standing still while the world moved on dot these astrologers don't predict fate. They map who you've been. In light, you whisper, "Why am I here?" They answer without sound. "Because you're made of stories and stars. Remember everything." You look down. The spiral glows. You are not at the edge of space. You are in the center of what you always were. There is no ticking, only breath. You walk through an archway carved not from stone, but from forgotten intentions. Before you stretches a hallway. Long, quiet, golden dot on each side, colon clocks, dot hundreds, thousands, dot none of them working. All frozen at different times, dot 12, colon 016, colon 063, colon 3311, colon 59, each clock marks a moment. Not of history, but of choice. You touch one. It's the other poet nearly burned their only manuscript. But the idea in single quotes d dot another. The second a scientist looked up from failed notes and smiled anyway. Another. A quiet evening in a city that no longer exists, where two strangers shared a joke and never met again. These clocks are not broken. They are preserved, like echoes in amber. This place does not store time, it stores meaning. You stop at a large one in the center, it reads color now, and as you watch, for the first time, a clock in this hall ticks once. And the sound is not metal, but memory. You walk across a vast plain. The wind is warm, but carries no voice. There are no buildings, no trees, only scattered stones, each one marked with symbols that almost make sense. You kneel beside one, a swirl, a line, 3 dots. Your mind whispers a feeling, hunger, but for connection. Another stone, a handprint next to a spiral. Your chest feels full, as if someone once said, I am here, I am listening. Far ahead, you see figures, not people, not anymore. They are shapes of thought, walking, kneeling, touching the stones, leaving no footprints, only meanings. One turns to you, it has no eyes, but you understand what it wants to say before speech. We painted truth before writing. We carved feeling. You touch your chest, and without speaking, the shape understands you. It bows, not to your words, but to your silence. In this place, you realize language was never born. It emerged, the way fire does, from a spark, and silence was never empty. It was waiting to be understood. The path vanishes, but your feet keep moving, because this forest knows where you need to go. The trees here are strange. Each trunk is hollow, and inside, a dream that someone once had, but never lived. You lean close to one tree. Inside, a flickering image, a dancer who never danced. Her shoes stay new, her hands curl in longing. Another tree, a shipbuilder who never saw the sea. His fingers run along blueprints that no water ever touched. And another, a child who once wanted to grow old with someone, but didn't. Their dreams did not vanish. They grew roots. They became part of this forest. You keep walking. Each step feels heavier. Not with fear, but with echoes. Suddenly, a tree hums as you pass. It's yours. Inside it, a dream you once buried. One you told yourself wasn't possible. One you still think about, where no one is looking. You reach out. Your hand trembles. Not because you're afraid to touch it, but because a part of you never stopped hoping. The tree doesn't open. It listens. And for the first time, you don't wish to go back. You simply whisper, thank you for remembering. There is no shore, only stillness. You stand before a lake so clear, you cannot see its bottom. Only reflections that change when you blink. This is not water. This is remembrance. You kneel, dip your fingers in, the surface ripples, and suddenly you see a moment you thought you forgot, a face from your childhood, smiling through the blur of time. You dip your hand again. At night you settle alone, wishing someone would knock on the door, but no one did. Still, you lit a candle, just in case. Every ripple carries a memory, not in words, but in sensation. You wade in. The lake is cold, but not cruel dot as you move deeper. Memories pass round you like fish, some curious, some shy, some so fast you can't catch them. Then, beneath the surface, you see a light, not bright, but familiar. You dive down, and you remember, not a person, not a place, but a feeling of who you once were. Before the world told you who to be, you rise again, dripping but calm. The lake doesn't try to keep you, it only whispers. Whenever you're ready, you may return. It stands alone, no guts. No locks, no warning. Just a frame of light, vibrating softly, as if humming a lullaby you forgot. You approach. There is no inscription, no question to answer. But still, you feel the weight of a decision, because this gate doesn't lead to paradise or to punishment. It leads back to you. To the life you left sleeping behind when this journey began. Behind the gate is your old world. But now you are different. You carry the echo of unspoken languages, the touch of forgotten dreams, and the warmth of memories that once swam away from you. You reach the threshold, and the gate pulses. It whispers, you may return, but nothing will be the same, because you've remembered what the world forgot. You look back, the lake. The forest, the plain of language. The halls of forgotten hours. They do not vanish. They bow to you, not in farewell, but in gratitude, because you came seeking rest and found remembrance. You step forward. Not to escape, not to dream, but to carry all of it back into the waking world. The gate opens. Silently. Softly. Finally. You open your eyes. The ceiling is the same. The walls the same. The ticking clock, still counting moments you thought you lost. But something is different. Your breath is slower. Your hands no longer tremble with restlessness. There is no panic waiting for you, only silence. But a silence that feels full, not empty. You sit up. Beside you is a book you don't remember opening. Its pages are blank, but they smell like distant rain, like wood smoke from a place you've never been. You touch your chest. Inside, you feel a tree humming softly, a lake rippling in stillness, a dream still growing roots. You rise. The world outside your window looks the same, but your eyes are no longer looking for something. They are simply seeing, and when you step into the day, you carry nothing in your hands, but everything in your presence. You are not wiser. You are not stronger. You are simply awake. Tonight's journey is over, but you are not alone. The lake remembers your touch. The gate remembers your step. The winds of the plain still carry your name in a language no one else can hear. But you lie down. Your head on the same pillow, your body wrapped in the same blanket. But something rests with you now. Something gentle, quiet, and older than memory. It does not speak in words, only in presence. You close your eyes, and just before sleep takes you, you hear a whisper from the dream you left behind. When the world grows heavy, I will be here. Waiting. As I always have. As I always will. Sleep comes, like a tide, and carries it away. But inward, home is not a place. It is a remembering. And now, you remember. Good night. If you ever get lost, the gate is still there, and the world will be waiting for you to return. The wind was soft tonight. Not cold. Not warm. Just enough to move a single grain of sand onto your skin. You didn't wake. You were never quite asleep. You simply drifted, as if your body had turned into dust, and the wind knew your name. There is no sound here. No birds. No footsteps. Only the hush of sand sliding down unseen slopes. Then something shifts beneath you. Not pain. Not fear. Just a memory. A whisper from far beneath. Before the stars were numbered, I was a city. I had names. I had doors. You do not answer. You cannot. But the sand begins to remember for you, and so the first door begins to open. The door is not made of wood or stone or metal. It is made of absence, a place where something once stood, and then forgot how to stay. You pass through it without moving. The air is dry, but kind. As if even the wind here respects the silence. You see nothing, but you feel a hole, wide, high, open, like a cathedral buried in centuries of sleep. And then the floor begins to glow softly, like the memory of moonlight and water you haven't touched in yours. No voices. Just light, leading you forward. You follow. You don't ask where. You just follow. The hallway opens into a room. There are no shelves. No books. No scrolls. Yet you know this is a library. Because the dust on the floor moves when you breathe, and in the air you hear something soft. Not sound, but echoes. Words never written, stories never told. Every grain of dust is a letter, every swirl of wind, a forgotten name. You reach out your hand. The dust gathers into lines. And the first line reads, "The ones who remembered, forgot how to speak." And then it scatters again. No need to understand. Just witness. You are not here to know. You are here to remember with your skin. The floor beneath you rises. Then sinks, like lungs, like the city itself is breathing. You sit, not by choice, but as if invited. The dust does not settle. It dances. Around you, above you, through you. You begin to hear a voice that is not a voice. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in weight. In air. In stillness. And what it says is this: you have not lost your way. You are exactly where you forgot to be. Your eyes close, not in sleep, but in surrender. You do not fall. You float. And the city, the one beneath the sand, holds you, not like a secret, but like a memory that waited, very, very patiently. You drift into another chamber. No walls, no roof. Just pillars that stretch endlessly upward, vanishing into a sky you cannot see. Along the path, statues line the way. Tall. Still. Worn by time, but not broken. Each one is different. Each one watches. You feel no fear, only the gentle pressure of being seen by those who no longer speak. One of them holds out a hand. Not moving, not alive. But offering. You place your palm against stone. It's cold, but not unkind. And you hear, not in your ears, but in your bones, "We remember you, even if you do not." The path ends at a pool of water. Still. Clear. You in moving. It reflects nothing. Not the sky, not you. You kneel beside it and listen. You expect ripples or voices. Or light. But what you hear is a heartbeat. Not yours, not human. It's deeper. Older. Wiser. And it speaks in pulses. Every silence is a story. Every stillness a truth. You lean closer. The surface stays flat. But now it shows a city, not in ruin, but alive, a glimpse, a breath. Then gone. You enter a circular chamber. No doors. No windows. Only a dome above. And the names. They cover the walls, etched in language you've never seen but somehow understand. They are not famous names. Not kings. Not queens. Just people. Menders. Scribes. Bakers. Mothers. One name glows faintly. It is yours. Or a name you once had. The walls whisper. To be forgotten is not the same as to be gone. In the next chamber, you find a clock. It ticks once, then pauses for a long, long time, then ticks again. It measures not hours, but eras. Not seconds, but generations. There is no urgency here. Only the quiet rhythm of time that knows no rush. You sit beside it, and you wait. For what? You do not know. But somehow, waiting feels like remembering, and remembering feels Like peace, a crack above, is sigh dot, and then dust falls from a ceiling that no longer wants to stay. You don't move. You are not afraid. The dust does not bear you dot, it wraps round you. Like a blanket dot in its folds, you see stories. A boy chasing wind, a woman lighting a clay lamp, a city preparing a festival that never came. And the dust says, we fell, but we remembered how to hold. You find yourself in the middle of a street dot once grand dot now buried. But the wind remembers where every stone once stood. You walk slowly, not to rive, but to listen. The street hums softly beneath your steps, shops with no signs, homes with no doors. Still, they hum, and in their hum, you hear something ancient. Sleep is not the end dot, it is the city's way of dreaming. You smile, and the city breathes deeper. You open a door that you don't remember closing. Inside a library dot, but no shelves dot, no books. Only scrolls, floating gently, turning their own pages. They breathe. You can hear it as soft inhale as each part mentions a memory. You reach for one, and it curls round your wrist. It does not speak, but you feel it. A wedding by moonlight, a song sung only once, a tear that watered the last flower. You nod. You understand. The scroll exhales and rests. Beyond the library, our garden blooms dot, no sun dot, no water dot, still. It lives. The vines twist in patterns only dreams could grow. Flowers open slowly as you pass. They do not need tending. They do not need you. But still, they waited dot, one petal drifts into your hand dot, it whispers. The forgotten still bloom. Even without witness, long tables, empty chairs, plates untouched. But laughter lingers. The air holds the echo feasts that once were. You do not eat, but you remember the warmth of shared bread, shared time. A candle flickers dot, though no one lit it dot, you sit dot, and for a moment. You are not alone. Joy leaves footprints, even when the feet are gone. A room filled with silence. But it isn't empty dot in every corner. Notes hang in the air, waiting to be heard. You step forward, and the silence sings, not loudly, but sweetly dot, like lullabies from a past you never lived but somehow miss. The melody wraps round you dot, soft dot, familiar. Every soul hums a song it never learned but always knew. Its staircase spirals upward dot, each step is a door dot, each door is locked. But the locks are not meant to keep you out there, meant to remember what once passed through. You do not open them, you simply listen. Behind one door, laughter dot, another, rain, another. Goodbye. You climb slowly dot, and with every step, you leave nothing behind. Because nothing here was ever truly lost. You enter a room that feels like it's known you before you were born. The air greets you soft and scented with memory dot, the walls are made of mist. The floor hums quietly, as if it remembers your footsteps from a lifetime you've forgotten. You sit. The room dreams of you dot, and for the first time, you wonder if you were ever the dream of something greater dot. In the center of the plaza, there's a well dot, it doesn't hold water. It holds words that were never said. You lean in. A breeze rises from deep below. You hear them, fragments of love, of regret, of almost. They float past your ears like the wings of moths. You whisper, just once, goodbye, and the well keeps it for someone who never heard it. A tapestry hangs, woven in gold and silence dot, it doesn't depict history dot, it absorbs it. You touch it. It shifts dot, it listens dot, your story, your losses, your laughter. They thread themselves in without judgment dot, no eyes dot, no voice, only knowing. Even what hurts becomes part of the pattern. The hall is long, lined with names you cannot read. They're not in any language, just symbols, like breath frozen in time. These are names never spoken aloud, not forgotten, just held close by silence. You place your palm on one. You don't speak it. You only feel dot and it feels like Simeone is finally home. You enter a room and suddenly smell rain and warm stone. It smells like paper boats in puddles, fresh bread, laughter around a dim lamp. You remember nothing clearly, but you feel it all. The room has no windows. But somehow sunlight dances across the floor. It smells like Simeone once loved you very much. On a small table, the clock ticks, but backwards. Each second takes you further away from now. Not toward the past, but toward a version of you I almost became. You watch. For a moment, you are a child again. Then a laugh. Then a goodbye you never got to say. Then stillness. And the clock disappears. A final door. You expect more dust. More echoes. But it opens too. Sky endless starlit silent you step forward. Not to fall, but to rise. The city does not end. It simply becomes lighter, and you not smaller, but freer. As you rise, a voice speaks. But it's not yours, and not quite a stranger. It says only, "You remembered us." You smile, not in pride, but in peace. Because remembering was all it ever wanted. The air carries names. Soft. Like feathers brushing skin. You listen and find you're honoring them, spoken not in voice, but in knowing. The city breathes through you now. The sand no longer buries. It remembers. You look down. The city lies beneath your feet. No longer forgotten. No longer asleep. It does not shine. It glows. You don't belong to it, but it belongs to you, and gently. You drift away, carrying it in your bones. Forever. In a quiet corner. You find a mirror, but it shows no reflection. Only feelings. When you stand before it, it shimmers with all the joy you forgot to keep. It flickers with the sadness show thought you buried. It's not truth. It's not illusion. It's just what's left. Stone stairs descend, but not downward. Shimward. Each step echoescent in air, but in your chest. It feels like returning to a place you never left. And halfway down, you forget your name, not out of fear, but out of freedom. A single feather floats in the center of the room. It never lands. It simply moves. Like time paused. You reach for it, you miss. And yet something inside you softens. Like forgiven ash you didn't know you needed. You hear a song. No instruments. No voice. Just melody pure and touched. It follows you like a memory from a dream you don't recall. And every note feels like a hand holding yours long ago. You kneel in the dunes. The sand begins to shift. Names form not carved, but revealed. Names you once whispered. Names you once feared. And yours again and again. The wind doesn't erase them. It honors them. There's a circle drawn in dust. No matter where you start. You return. Walk clockwise, you relive. Walk counterclockwise, you release. You choose to stand still. And in stillness, the circle opens. You see a shadow that isn't yours. It moves when you don't. It watches gently. Then it smiles, and you realize it is not haunting you. It is staying behind. So you don't have to. You lift a stone. Beneath it light, not bright. Not burning. Just soft. It flickers like a memory gently refusing to fade. You place the stone back, but the light stays with you. All this time, a thread followed you. You never saw it, but it held everything. Each step, each pause, each question woven into it. You look back. The thread glows. You were never lost, just held. There is a place at the edge of memory. It doesn't move. It waits. It waited for your breath, your footsteps. Your wonder. And now, as you turn one last time, you understand. You were always meant to return. You find a door, but it doesn't open. It doesn't ask for a keys. Only silence. You stand before it, and in the stillness, you feel heard. Not your words, but the parts of you too tired to speak. You hear water river beneath the sand. It flows slowly, gently, patiently. No one sees it, but it's always been there, just under the surface. Like kindness, long forgotten, never gone. A wall of clay holds faces. They don't move, but they feel alive. You see one that looks familiar not by sight, but by sorrow. It is yours, but not today's. It's who you were once. You hear an echo, but you never spoke. It whispers anyway, soft truths you once avoided. I missed you. I'm proud of you. You're still here. Words you never said, but needed to hear. In the center of the chamber rests a stone. Breathing. It rises and falls as if asleep. You sit beside it. And slowly, your own breath matches its rhythm. You don't wake it. It wakes something in you. A room you don't remember feels familiar. You touch a wall and suddenly you recall a story you never lived. A quiet meal, a warm laugh, a hand in yours. A memory from a life you might have had. A breeze passes through the chamber. It doesn't chill. It doesn't move sand. It speaks. It whispers your name like it's always known it, not the one you tell people, but the one that means you. You find patched into stone. No cities. No borders, only lines. The lines led not across distance, but through memory. The final marker's not a place. It's a feeling. The air changes. The city exhales. Dust swirls. Walls sigh. The silence deepens. It's not an end. It's a lullaby. The city is not gone. It just sleeps. And it leaves you with peace. A path appears. It wasn't there before. Not because it didn't exist, but because you weren't ready to see it. Now, you walk it gently. Not to leave, but to carry everything you found. You walk in silence, yet there is music. Not from flutes or strings, but from memory. A melody built from footsteps, heartbeats, soft things left unsaid. A lullaby no one composed, yet always known. You find a chamber filled with lost things, a wooden comb, a shoe, a letter never sent. Each one holds a memory, but not yours. Yet as you touch them, you remember anyway. In a corner, you see a feather trapped in stone. Softness inside stillness. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't fade. It simply waits. As if saying, not everything soft as weak. A mirror greets you, but it doesn't show your face. Instead, it reflects moments, the ones you regret. But they're softer here, less sharp. The mirror doesn't judge. It just whispers, you tried. You step into a hole with glass beneath. Beneath that glass stars, you are walking on a sky that was once above you and now welcomes you below. You don't fall, you float. Our garden waits, not filled with flowers, but with seeds. Some are dry, some are sleeping. None are wasted. You don't water them, you listen, and they bloom in your memory. You meet a statue with tools in hand. He is asleep, but the chisel rests near a half-finished face. It is peaceful. Not done, but enough. Perfection was never the goal, only presence. As you near the exit, a memory follows. It doesn't want to fade. It's not loud. Not heavy. Just there, a quiet companion from a city that sleeps beneath the sand. You find another door. This one opens, but not forward. It opens into you. And suddenly, you realize the city was not beneath the sand. It was always beneath your sorrow. You awaken. But the dream doesn't end. It lingers. It breathes. Because it wasn't a dream, it was memory. Buried deep. And now it lives with you, as quietly as a heartbeat.